So that's enough from me. I think I'm just on time, and we're going to pass over to our first speaker, Heidi, who is going to go through her resource.
Hi everyone. So I'm Heidi here from Future Green for those of you who don't know me. And I think Tanvi is going to, I'm going to take my slides. Sorry, just did that practice. Sorry about that. So yeah, we help food and drinks businesses work on their sustainability, and the Carbon Literacy Project program is just one way that we do that. So just to give you a sense of how broad we work, this is our framework, if I can bring it up. So yeah, we work across the food system in a very holistic way, and we deliver carbon literacy training as a sort of introduction to food system sustainability. Just one way to engage businesses before we encourage them to do more in the way of, let's say, a food strategy. So who do we help? We help businesses like caterers, landlord developers, because they have to work with their F&B tenants, event planners, and really anyone that who sells or serves food in a public place. We can definitely help them. So there might be some brands that you're aware of, like Compass Group, Sodexo, or KFC, these quick service restaurants, and Pizza Hut, with the whole aim to normalize sustainability in the food sector. And so I'll very quickly give you an intro to my background. So I very much started, well, my early years, I did English teaching overseas in Italy and in Japan, did a lot of TEFL training, bit of marketing. I was a stay-at-home mom. There's my three kids there, and a bit of a trailing spouse moving around the world. My kids are born on different continents, and very much sort of unfulfilled, loving motherhood, but not really getting much in the way of sort of a purpose in sort of using my brain, let's say. So I took a course in, I took my master's in food policy, and then I went on to do a postgrad in education, and just kept on learning as we kept traveling. And but I did get a lot of rejections because I didn't have that, you know, my sort of my CV was the computer would say no, let's put it that way. It just wasn't stable. And so the pivot came, you know, the change really happened when I met my professor, Tim Lang. He really encouraged me to move into this space. And it really isn't something that is a very common sort of area in sustainability. Looking at food, you won't find that many food sustainability courses around. Um, so going on to the next. Thanks. So yeah, as I said, just going through the master's program really helped me define what I wanted to do, and that's when I started the Food Made Good franchise about 6 years ago, and then finally pivoting towards just doing my own thing. And also when I learned about design thinking, so I don't know if any of you in the room have heard about this sort of approach to problem solving, and that's what really kind of defines what we do today. We sort of blend this idea of deep knowledge in food sustainability with what we call our enabler, which are these design thinking workshops, which I'm about to take you through, to help bring sustainability to life and make it engaging enough that people want to go forward with their pledges. So in this case, we use pledges to bring sustainability into the space where it's very action oriented rather than theoretical. So see, these are some of the workshop processes, or what we call recipes, that we use. And today I'm going to share with you one that's been quite popular with our carbon literacy students called Planorama. So with that, we're going to jump straight into, our Miro board. So we did send out a little link where you could watch a video on how to use Miro if you're not familiar with it. But essentially, it's a whiteboard, online whiteboard, and if you're not participating, you can just follow along in the screen. So let's pop the link in, and hopefully you can jump straight on.
Can I double check that Tanvi's sharing the screen for this as well?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you.
So it's really easy to use. The only thing you'll really have to do is type and move a little sticky. So why don't we just first zoom into some of the pledges that our previous students have made. So at the top here we've got, and these are real pledges that our past students have made. So I'll just read a couple of them out to you. So if you want to zoom closer in, and for those of you who are going to try and participate, click into the link. And for those of you not, just follow along in Zoom. So our students have made commitments to prioritizing local produce. So that was a supermarket we worked with, a small supermarket. We had trialing plastic pallets. We had looking into circular packaging and reusable trays. That was also a supermarket. This one around animal feed as well, thinking about how they could replace imported soy with local insect meal. And then we had one around remote working. So they can be all sorts of pledges. So suffice to say that this sort of workshop process, you can use it with any pledge, but you can also use it to sort of align your teams around any sort of decision that you want to make to kickstart a project. So because we don't have time, normally we would all just vote on this. But given the short amount of time, I'm compressing a 45-minute workshop into 15 minutes. We did test this, it does work. So this compressed version, I'm just going to choose it. So I'm going to choose prioritizing local food and shorter value chains. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is to self-identify, I think how many we have, 48 people, so there should be plenty of boards. Just choose a board and just put your name in like I'm doing now. And we are going to collectively, so I'll give you a second to do that. You can choose any board, try to choose a board where there are other people. So you put your 2 fingers on your trackpad if you're on a laptop to move around. We did send a little how to watch this, but I know from experience, most people don't have time to watch how to use a software video. But just to give you a quick tip, 2 fingers helps you move the trackpad, and then your Command Plus on a Mac would just zoom you in and zoom you out. So Tanvi, do you want to just zoom a bit closer in? So I can see a few people have just self-identified in group 1, so that's great. But yeah, any group, it doesn't matter as long as you have other people in your group. So just pop your name. I can see a few people already typing their names in. Yeah, we've got 2 boards filled. So the idea, oops, I think one of the boards I'm missing. Try to just, type your name on the green sticky note. I think, we've got almost a full board in group 4. Tanvi, do you want to lock the boards? I think some of the boards have gone a bit missing. So I think we've got a few. Okay, no, you're just putting your name on a green sticky. So if that board is full, like group 1, I can see, just go to another board. So you can see that group 4 needs another person. Mike is also on his own in group 2. Oh, we've got a nice board down on the bottom right here as well. I can see Sarah's board is almost full. So yeah, you're just popping your name in very quickly. So what we're going to do next, this approach comes from product design. So the idea is that what we're going to do now is to solve this problem, and you're going to imagine that in my group 1, so if we zoom into group 1, you can see that there are 6 people, and we are going to make a decision now on what the first step is in order to take action on this initiative, and the last step, and that's really important. So we choose the first step, and then we choose the last step, and then we'll fill in what's in the middle. Okay, so I might say, for example, decide on person in charge. Okay, and then I might say launch for the last one, launch a pilot campaign. That's just my example. And then I'll go in to fill in the rest. Okay, so we'll just put the timer on for 3 minutes. And I'd like you to just pop in the first one, the last one on your row. So don't type on anyone else's row, just on your row, as I have there in mine. Just type in what is the first step in your business that you'd have to sort of plan and think about, and what is the last step, and then fill in the rest. Is that okay? Have we got any questions? Pop them in the chat. Got 3 minutes to do this. you finish, feel free to look around and see what others have written. Tanvi, if you could just lock the boards if they're not locked. Just make sure they're all locked. Really great. We've got some really good ideas. Okay, so almost time up. I can see you've done some really great work here. Well done, guys. Well done, well done. So let's just zoom into my board, Tanvi. What we've got now is very quickly, a lot of people have been able to put forward their ideas on how this initiative should be executed. And what we're going to do next is you probably, if you're reading what other people have written, thought, oh, yes, that's a step that we actually need. So, for example, I quite like that French has put negotiate contracts. I did not think of that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to just have a quick scan of what people have written in your group, and we're going to bring up, oh, actually, sorry, one step before we do that is the voting. Almost missed that one. Tanvi's shaking her head. So before we move on, the point of doing the 6 steps is so that we can really think about milestones, important milestones that need to happen. But of course, those 6 steps are never always going to be enough, but it helps you get really focused, the first step, last step, and then the ones in between. What we're going to do next is ask you to have a quick read and then vote on the one that you think feels the most comprehensive. So we're going to grab a red dot and you put your cursor in the center, otherwise it won't drag properly. And if it isn't dragging, just put your cursor on the gray background to help you. And just drag onto one where you feel, oh, this feels very comprehensive. I quite like that one. And just put it next to the green name. So I'll give you a minute to do that on your board. Yeah. Just shout in the chat if you're not sure what to do. So you're just having a quick scan and dragging a red dot next to the one. I see group 2, you haven't really filled in yours. Don't worry, you can follow along on the screen because you do need a full line of stickies for this to work. Group 4, you've got quite a lot of good ones. That's good. So a quick read and then drop your red dot next to the person's line that feels the most comprehensive to you. Amazing. I think we've got all of our voting done. And so let's zoom into my board, Tanvi, and I think we can see that it's very clear. We all agree in our team that France's row feels the most comprehensive. So what we'll do next is that will be, let's say, the winning or decided track. But as I said earlier on, you might be thinking, oh, there are some steps that I actually liked from, let's say, Rachel's. Rachel talked about data mapping. Who can our suppliers be, you know, thinking about that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, in our group, so with Rachel, Kat, Franch, Liam, and Mike, what we would do is just grab one of the other stickies and we'll put them into Franch's row to make it feel a bit more complete. And so I might say data mapping, where would we do that? Maybe we do that a little bit more, well, definitely before negotiating contracts. but maybe a bit after research. So then we'll give ourselves a minute to move those along. So I think because if your plan is complete, you can do this in your group, but if it isn't, just follow along in the screen. And let's give ourselves a minute, Tanvi, for my group to look at what other post-its there are here that we think would help this line feel a bit more complete. So just a minute on the clock there. So Rachel, Kat, Franch, Lee and Mike, feel free to drag in a few of those post-its where you think we can make this implementation process a bit more complete. And feel free to drag around your post-its. So what we're essentially doing is taking other ideas from your team and bringing them into the voted, top voted line. Amazing. So we can see we've got data mapping before working with suppliers to create a plan, and then we've got negotiating contracts. So what you're doing here is essentially sort of crowdsourcing the ideas and everybody gets heard. So and then the next step, what we'd normally do is self-identify, and we're not going to do that. I'm just going to demonstrate where we take a postie, and let's say I might be part of the service design team, so I might self-identify and put myself there, but the team would just choose an area where they feel confident to participate. And then of course the last thing you would do is all agree through discussion your timeline. So that is your planorama, and that is how you help businesses to really think about the sort of the process, let's say the plan around your pledge that you've identified. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I've got a minute or two to quickly run through the rest of my slides. So if we can just switch back to my closing slides, and then if anybody's got any question about Planorama, just pop them in the chat or just get them ready because my time's almost up. Okay, so what to do next if you want to get in touch with us. We are going to be doing our second cohort for Train the Trainer, which includes a lot of these design thinking tools. So feel free to just sign up for the wait list, and as soon as we have 6, we'll kickstart. And there's also a link for that if you're not using QR codes. We've also got our April course if you're just wanting to find out, oh, what does a food systems carbon literacy course look like, and get some ideas. We also have a course starting on the 22nd of April. They're 2 half days. And we also have a freebie right here. So I think you guys will get a copy of this, so don't worry. We just made a little 2-page workbook for you to how to digitize your course. This is something we're thinking about helping trainers who are currently delivering in person. They want to do something more around digitization and yeah, making courses recorded and available online. And finally, if you want to stay in touch, please sign up for our newsletter. It's free and it comes out every 2 weeks. And that's it. Oh, 1 minute early.